Hello, my name is Lev Anderson, and I, along with Chris Metzler, who is joining me via Skype web chat video, we are the co-directors of Everyday Sunshine, the story of Fishbone, being featured on this year's AfroPoP series. We're very happy to be able to share the film with you folks, the audience, and happy to be a part of such a great series. Chris, you want to say hello to everyone?
Hey guys, we're doing this little punk rock style, kind of like Fishbone, doing the Skype thing. Lev and I have been on the road a lot these last couple months doing our DIY theatrical release. We've hit about 75 cities so far, and we're about to wrap it up and now debut on public television, so we're glad to be here. I wasn't so familiar with this band Fishbone when we started this project. I mainly knew Fishbone from these logos you saw in the 80s and 90s that alternative kids and like skateboarders would wear. And then you and I met at a party at a film festival, and you told me about this really cool band.
My father was into very eclectic music, and he would bring home all kinds of records from, the first rap and hip hop albums from Grandmaster Flash or Schoolie D to, heavy metal and punk stuff. And he brought home some Fishbone records, and actually took me to see Fishbone once when I was 10 years old. And I think it was probably the first time they played in Portland, Oregon, and there was a crazy, crazy show, and I was just a 10-year-old kid just kind of spazzing out like everybody else, so it was kind of this perfect music. But I recognized right away, having listened to a lot of R&B and rock and roll in the house, I recognized right away that the band was unique. It was just really fun, but they were also very kind of socially conscious in their lyrics, and after, I was a fan of the band, and then kind of lost track of them, but I always thought that they would make for an interesting documentary.
When you and I first started talking, I was just like, oh no, another music documentary. I was like, there's no way that this is an interesting story. But then you kind of told me all this cool background, and the kind of, I guess, key that kind of hooked me in is that, this is really a story of outsiders. The guys of Fishbone really didn't fit in anywhere, but they fit in everywhere at the same time. And they just kind of decided to create the most unique music they could think of and kind of carve their own path for risk or reward. And obviously, I think those sorts of characters always have interesting backstories.
You have to build these relationships with your subjects, and these are people that haven't necessarily had the best experiences with business people or the entertainment industry. So I think once we were able to establish that level of trust and get them to really open up to us and let them realize that we're not making a typical rockumentary here, just getting past kind of the usual questions that they were asked and getting into a more personal, intimate look into their lives as artists, but then also some of these larger social issues that maybe sometimes they didn't even think about themselves. I think those were like the biggest challenges in making the film.
Some people wonder, like, okay, what do the guys in Fishbone think of the film? And all in all, they like the film. They come out and done Q&As and things, and I think it's a little bit surreal for them to see themselves on TV or on the big screen. And there's some difficult moments to watch, but in general, they're very happy. And I remember when we showed a rough cut to Norwood and Angelo, and when they both started just kind of laughing their asses off at moments in time, you're like, okay, cool, they're kind of rolling with it. And I think their only critique would be is that if they would have made the film, it would be like a 10-hour epic or whatever, because I think it's difficult to see your 30 years of your life condensed into an hour-and-a-half film. But in general, they like it, and I think that they've always seen your and I's film as like basically this kind of piece of art, and they really just said, look, you guys are doing something interesting. We're not going to mess with it, run with it, we believe in it, and it's this kind of impressionistic portrait of Fishbone.
Not everybody that has ever been in Fishbone, is interviewed for the film, or we might have interviewed them, but they might not have made it into the film just because, as Chris was alluding to, this could be a 10-hour epic for the sake of, keeping the story tight. But there was only one member of the band that didn't want to be interviewed, and that was Fish, the original drummer. Great, amazing drummer, Norwood's brother. But we couldn't really convince him to take part in the film. But everybody else was very gung-ho about it. All the guys in the band are really great guys, very talented musicians, and we were very happy that they let us into their lives.
Basically, as we kind of wrap this up, I think we should let everybody know, you know, Fishbone's not gone anywhere. They've consistently toured over the last 25, 30 years, and they're probably hitting a town near you soon. So go check it out. Get ready to get sweaty in the mosh pit. And, you know, thanks again for AfroPop for, you know, choosing our film to be on this year's series. So check it out there and give us a shout out on our website, fishbonedocumentary.com, and let us know what you think of the film.
Thank you, everybody.
See you back home in California sometime soon, Lev.
All right,
take care.
Safe travels, man.